This week it is warmer on the farm than it has been lately, so we decided to switch up our winter feeding plan with the cattle. We still have a small section of cover crops that we planted over the summertime, so with the warmer weather this week, we're going to take the cows to that part of the farm for them to finish grazing that. The reason we had to wait for a warm stretch of weather like this is because we don't have a water system on that part of the farm that won't freeze during the cold. But we're going to get a good week stretch here of warm weather. One of the first things we have to do is get that pen ready for them. We need to move our solar fence charger to use on our temporary electric fence, and we also need to pick up a big tree that fell down during the last storm. For now, we're just going to cut this tree up into pieces that we can set aside on the other side of the fence, so that way we can continue on with getting this pen ready for the cattle. But we will be coming back out here and picking up all of these logs and storing them away in our barn, so that way we can use them for our wood stove next winter. Now that we got that tree out of the way, we're going to drive around and check on how the rest of the fence is still standing. This string fence can get knocked over by the deer or in the rain and wind, so it's something we always try to pick up whenever we're done using it, but we knew we would come back to this section of the field, so we never picked up the string, and a lot of it is knocked over, so we're going to have to spend a little bit of time just picking it back up and getting it all ready before we can move the cows out here today. It's always easier for me to be the person walking because the baby is so content on my back. So anytime I can get out of the side-by-side, put him on my back and do the walking or any sort of job that's just easy like this, where I'm mostly just walking and picking up the fence and stepping in the post every so often, the baby is just so happy to ride along and be outside, especially this week because the weather has been so nice here on the farm. Now that the fence is all picked back up, we are ready to set up our solar fence charger out here. We really use this portable charger a lot because it allows us to manage their grazing still, even in areas far away from electric. So we can use this portable solar charger in those places we can't get to our normal electric and still keep the fence hot. So that way the cattle are contained to where we want them to be grazing.
Come on guys, come on guys.
Our plan was to try to walk the herd along the woods so that way they didn't get into our other fields on the way to the one we're taking them to, because these other fields all have cover crops in them already for spring, so we really didn't want them trampling through them. But our plan didn't work and they kind of scattered everywhere, but I was able to stay ahead of them in the side by side and keep calling them, and then I quickly made it to the pen we were trying to get them to and started dumping feed and they all sort of came back to the area that we wanted them to come to. So it ended up working out, but it didn't go exactly as planned. There is about a week's worth of grazing out here for our whole herd, which is great because being able to graze this during the wintertime is going to save us a lot of money, because right now our herd is eating about 3 big round bales every day. So a full week will save us over 20 big round bales, and each of those big round bales costs us about $50. So being able to send them out here for a week will probably save us about $1,000 on winter feed costs, which is huge. But because this is a summer annual grass, it's not nearly as nutritious during the wintertime. So while they're out here, we want to make sure we're offering them protein tubs as well. But cattle just naturally like grazing, so I'm sure they'll still enjoy their week grazing out here, even though the grass isn't quite as good as it would have been had we been able to graze it all during the summertime.
I am down here now, and I'm going to pull the cows off of this cover crop. So they've been out here about 7 days, and we had a really good warm stretch of weather, but now it's dropping back down into the teens overnight, and it's going to be 0-degree weather for the next few days, and we don't have a winter watering system out here on this field. So I'm just going to go ahead and call them up and move them back to the field where we have good winter water. So this way we don't have to mess with frozen water. We actually don't have a way we could do that out here anyways, because we had to run 2,000 feet of water line above ground from our nearest hydrant just to get the cows some water out here. So I'm just going to go ahead and move them back today to the field where we have a really good frost-free drinker that they can be on during this cold stretch of weather.
My plan was to bring a round bale with me on the tractor and then just open up the fence and call them back through with the round bale, just assuming that they would be hungry enough to follow me. But this plan also got derailed. So when we brought the cattle out here, we tried to keep them in the woods, and that didn't work. So I thought, taking them back, I wouldn't even bother with trying to keep them in the woods, and I would try to see if this plan would work a little better.
That failed. I had them literally through the gate and I was ready to unroll the hay, and then I guess they decided they didn't want the hay, so they ran back out to the field. So now I'm going to run back to the barn and get some buckets of grain and see if I can't get them to follow that. I was a little worried that they would do that to me, and that's why I didn't even stop and try to move my camera at all through all that, because I was like, I just want to get the job done. And I knew if I didn't get them through the gate quick enough that they would change their mind on me. And they did it super fast anyways. I didn't even have them all through the gate. They started to come and then they ran back out to this field. We actually do have some rye planted out here. It just isn't up very much because we don't plan on grazing it till the spring. So I honestly didn't even think they would notice it. But they're running around and trying to graze it. I'm sure it smells good to them. So it's going to take something a little bit better than hay to get them to follow me. I am doing this by myself today, so hopefully I can get it done. If not, my husband's going to have to come home early from work to help me. I think I can if I go get some grain, so we'll see what happens.
I decided before running back to get grain, I should go ahead and feed all the hay while I have the tractor out here. So that way, if I do get them to follow me back, there's hay out here waiting for them. So maybe instead of going back out to the rye fields, they'll just stay here and eat on the hay. So before I run back and grab my buckets of feed, I'm going to feed them hay really quickly. And a lot of times in situations like this, giving the cattle a little bit of time to just be nosy out where they're at makes it even easier, because cattle are very nosy. So they're probably just running around that rye field, seeing what's out there, and they'll quickly realize that there's not much out there to eat, and they'll want to come back anyways. I am also on a little bit of a time crunch because my mom is here with the kids today inside, because it is just so cold outside right now. It's hard to tell because there's no snow on the ground or anything, but the air is just so cold. It's literally hard to breathe. So she's needing to get going. So I only have a little bit of time to see if this is going to work. And I got a big group of cattle to come, but because it was just me by myself, I couldn't get behind all of them and get them all through the gate before the rest of the cattle wanted to go right back out to the fields. So I was not able to accomplish this on my own today, which was very frustrating because I spent a good portion of my morning trying to get this done. But I had to get back inside so that my mom could leave. And it was time for the kids to go down for their afternoon nap. So I decided I wasn't going to worry about the cows anymore until my husband could come home from work and help me. But I didn't want to waste any more of my day. So I thought spending their nap time prepping some dinner would be a really good decision, especially because we were probably going to get tied up outside this evening trying to get the herd back where they need to go. Back inside with the wood stove going and 2 kids sleeping, I decided making some potato soup with the sausage that we just picked up. We got it all back from the pigs that we raised over the summer. Sounded like the perfect meal on a cold day like today. is one of my favorite recipes in the wintertime. I love making a loaded sausage and potato soup. It's a great way to use some root vegetables, and then you can also add in some homemade bone broth, and this meal is just so warm and nourishing in the wintertime, especially after a frustrating day like today. I can just prep a really good meal for my family, and then this afternoon when my husband gets home, I can just put this on the stove and let it simmer while we go out and deal with the cattle situation. When I serve soup, I always love to have a bread to go along with it, but I didn't have any bread made up this evening, so I decided to quickly feed my sourdough starter, and then that way I can make one of my favorite sourdough discard breadstick recipes. It is so easy, and all you need is some fed sourdough, and it doesn't even have to be super active or bubbly when you make it. It is something I go to a lot whenever I don't have bread made up, but I have a meal that I want to serve some bread with.
Hey! Get out of there.
And of course, they all came back super easily this afternoon once I had a little bit of help. So that was nice that we were able to go out there really quickly and they are all ready to come back. Honestly, it's probably just because they were out there for half the day and they realized there was nothing good to eat out there. So they decided to finally listen and come back to where they were supposed to be. For my quick breadsticks, I just preheat a cast iron pan, and then whenever it is preheated, I put a lot of olive oil on it, and then I spread out the sourdough starter all over the pan and add some salt and Italian seasonings, and then put it back in the oven and bake it for about 10 minutes is really all it takes. A lot of times I will also top it with some cheese about 5 minutes into baking, and then you have a really good cheesy breadstick to go along with some nice soup or pasta, whatever it is that a breadstick will just go so good with. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you enjoyed seeing a little bit about what was going on around our farm this week. I look forward to sharing more videos with you in this coming year.